Picture this: a small room at Stanford University. A child, maybe 4 or 5 years old, sitting at a table. On that table sits a single marshmallow, white and pillowy, practically glowing under fluorescent lights. The researcher leans down, makes a simple promise, and walks out. The door clicks shut. What happens next seems innocent enough. But this moment, repeated with child after child in the 1970s, would spawn one of the most influential psychological experiments in American history. And more importantly for you, it contains a brain hack so powerful that once you understand it, you'll never look at your own willpower the same way again. Here's what makes this story perfect for anyone grinding through the American dream. It's not about having superhuman discipline. It's not about being tougher than the next person. It's about being smarter about how your brain actually works. And trust me, by the end of this, you're going to want to rethink everything you thought you knew about self-control. Stanford psychologist Walter Mischel and his team were trying to create a viral sensation. They were trying to understand something fundamental about human nature. Why can some people wait for what they want, while others can't resist instant gratification? The experiment was elegant in its simplicity. Children from Stanford's Bing Nursery School were brought into a room, one at a time. They were offered a deal that would make any game show host proud. You can eat this marshmallow right now. Or, if you wait until I come back about 15 minutes, you'll get 2 marshmallows. Then the researcher left, and the camera rolled. What those cameras captured became the stuff of legend. Kids squirming in their seats, tiny hands reaching out, then pulling back. Some lasted seconds before grabbing the treat. Others made it the full 15 minutes. But here's what grabbed everyone's attention: the strategies the successful kids used. One girl turned her chair completely around, putting the marshmallow out of sight. A boy started singing songs to himself, louder and louder, drowning out the temptation. Another child began kicking the table leg rhythmically, creating a distraction. Some covered their eyes with their hands. Others stroked the marshmallow gently, as if petting a small animal, somehow making it less edible by turning it into something else. These kids weren't trying to power through with pure willpower. They were tricking themselves. But the experiment didn't become famous because of what happened in that room. It became a cultural phenomenon because of what supposedly happened later. Mischel's team tracked these children for years through high school, into adulthood, across decades. And according to the initial findings, the results were stunning. The kids who had waited longer for that second marshmallow weren't just better at resisting sweets. They were crushing it at life. Better SAT scores, higher educational achievement, lower body mass indexes, better social skills, more successful careers. It was as if that single moment, "Can you wait 15 minutes for a marshmallow?" predicted everything that mattered in the American success story. The media ran wild with it. Parenting books cited it. Business gurus used it in seminars. The message was seductive and clean. Willpower equals success. Self-control is destiny. If you want to make it in America land of opportunity, home of the self-made, you need to be the kid who waits for the marshmallow. The experiment became a metaphor for the American ethos itself. Delay gratification. Work hard now, play later. Sacrifice today for tomorrow. It was the Protestant work ethic wrapped in a childhood memory, scientifically validated by one of the world's top universities. For decades, this narrative dominated. Parents tested their own kids with marshmallows at home. Teachers referenced it in classrooms. It became shorthand for the idea that success is about character, about what's inside you, about your ability to tough it out when things get hard. There was just one problem. Science has a funny way of correcting itself. And when other researchers tried to replicate the marshmallow experiment with larger, more diverse groups of children, something interesting happened. The effect shrank dramatically. A major 2018 replication study by researchers at New York University and the University of California, Irvine tested more than 900 children 10 times the original sample size. And they included something Mitchell's original study largely missed: kids from different economic backgrounds, different races, different family structures. Not just the children of Stanford faculty and graduate students. When they controlled for factors like family income, mother's education, and home environment, the relationship between marshmallow weighting and later success practically evaporated. Think about what this means. A child from a stable, wealthy home who knows delayed gratification usually works because promises are kept, because there's usually enough, because resources are reliable, will wait differently than a child from an unstable environment, where waiting often means ending up with nothing at all. It's not that one child has more willpower. It's that one child has more reason to trust that waiting will actually pay off. This is the part that gets uncomfortable for the American success mythology, because we love stories about individual character determining destiny. We're less excited about stories where your zip code matters as much as your determination, where the stability of your childhood home affects your decision-making decades later, where systemic factors shape outcomes as much as personal grit. The Marshmallow Experiment became controversial because it bumped up against something Americans desperately want to believe: that we all start from the same place, and success is purely about what we're made of. But here's the twist, and this is where it gets useful for you. The fact that the dramatic life outcome predictions don't hold up doesn't mean the experiment is worthless. Actually, it means something way more practical. Strip away the overhyped claims about predicting life success. Forget the deterministic strong kids versus weak kids narrative. What remains is something genuinely powerful: a set of cognitive strategies that work. Remember those kids who succeeded? They weren't succeed because they were naturally more disciplined. They succeeded because they changed the game. They manipulated their own attention, transformed their environment, and essentially hacked their brain's reward system. And this is the lesson that travels. This is what you can use whether you're in a Manhattan apartment trying to launch a startup, a Midwest college dorm cramming for finals, or a California bedroom fighting the urge to check your phone every 30 seconds. When researchers analyzed what actually made the difference in that room, it wasn't about the children who white-knuckled their way through 15 minutes of torture. It was about the ones who made those 15 minutes easier. The most successful strategy? Making the marshmallow mentally unavailable. When children turned around so they couldn't see it, wait times shot up. When they covered their eyes, success rates climbed. When they distracted themselves with songs, games, or mental exercises, they lasted longer. The lesson isn't be stronger. It's be strategic. Your brain doesn't operate on some moral dimension of strong versus weak. It operates on attention, proximity, and mental availability. The marshmallow is hard to resist when it's right there, visible, present, occupying your thoughts. It becomes easier to resist when you change its status in your mind. This is the brain hack hiding inside the Marshmallow Experiment. And it's way more useful than some fuzzy idea about building character. Let's bring this home to your life. You're not facing marshmallows. You're facing student loans, career pivots, side hustles, fitness goals, relationship challenges, and about 7,000 notifications on your phone. You're navigating an American landscape where everyone's telling you to hustle harder, focus more, be more disciplined. And most of that advice is exhausting because it assumes your willpower is unlimited. Just try harder. Just want it more. Just push through. But that's not how your brain works. Your brain has what researchers call an attention budget. Every time you resist something, every time you force yourself to focus, every time you override an impulse, you're spending from that budget. It depletes throughout the day. This is why you can resist the donut at 9 a.m., but cave to the pizza at 9 p.m. It's not moral weakness. It's cognitive economics. The American work culture doesn't help. Long hours, constant connectivity, the expectation that you're always on. You're burning through your attention budget at a rate that would make those Stanford kids' heads spin, and then wondering why your willpower fails when you need it most. Here's where the marshmallow strategies come in. Instead of spending your limited willpower trying to resist temptation through sheer force, you remove the temptation from your attention budget entirely. Don't try to resist checking your phone while studying. Put it in another room. Don't try to resist snacking on junk food during work. Don't buy it in the first place, so it's not in your apartment. Don't try to resist hitting the snooze button. Put your alarm across the room so you have to stand up. This isn't about weakness. It's about respecting how your brain's operating system actually functions. Here's where this gets really interesting for anyone trying to build something in America, whether that's a business, a body, a skill, or a career. Those kids who succeeded weren't making their decision in the moment. They were making it before the moment became unbearable. The girl who turned her chair around didn't wait until she was desperately craving the marshmallow. She turned around immediately. The boy who started singing began his song before the temptation overwhelmed him. They pre-committed to a strategy. In your life, this looks like: don't wait until you're staring at Netflix at 10 p.m. to decide whether you'll study. Decide at 8 a.m. what your evening will look like and set up your environment accordingly. Don't wait until you're hungry and tired to decide what you'll eat. Meal prep on Sunday when you have energy and clarity. Don't wait until you're in bed scrolling to decide when you'll sleep. Set up app timers and blue light filters hours before. This is how people who seem to have incredible discipline actually operate. They're not resisting in real time. They're making choices during high willpower moments that protect them during low willpower moments. Think about American success stories you admire. The entrepreneurs who built something from nothing. The students who made it from community college to top graduate programs. The artists who created while working full-time jobs. The common thread isn't that they have superhuman willpower. It's that they have excellent systems. They've turned their chairs around. American culture has a weird relationship with distraction. We treat it as the enemy. Stay focused. Eliminate distractions. Lock in. But the Marshmallow kids teach us something different. Strategic distraction is one of the most powerful tools in your cognitive arsenal. When your brain is screaming at you, check Twitter, watch YouTube, eat the cookie, skip the workout. You're not supposed to engage in a philosophical debate with it. Your brain will win that argument every time because it has home field advantage and better lawyers. Instead, you redirect it. You give it something else to do. This is why the just get started advice actually works. Not because starting builds momentum, though it does, but because starting is a distraction from the resistance. Your brain stops arguing about whether you should write the paper and starts focusing on what the first sentence should be. You've changed the channel. This is why focus music works for so many people. Not because the music helps you concentrate directly, but because it occupies the part of your brain that would otherwise be generating excuses and objections. It's the adult version of singing songs in front of a marshmallow. This is why tiny habits work. Starting with one push-up, writing for just 5 minutes, studying a single flashcard. Not because these actions accomplish much on their own, but because they're distractions from the resistance. Once you're doing the thing, continuing is easier than starting was. Here's where we get tactical. This is the part you can implement today, whether you're in a dorm room, a corporate office, or your parents' basement figuring out your next move. The kids had to wait 15 minutes. That's actually a useful time frame. Not so short that it's meaningless, not so long that it's overwhelming. Most of us can do almost anything for 10 to 15 minutes. So stop staring at the final goal. Stop thinking about the 40-page thesis, the 30-pound weight loss, the year-long job search, the entire coding boot camp. Those are the equivalent of being told you can't eat the marshmallow for 6 months. Your brain will rebel. It should rebel. That's an unreasonable ask for your attention system. Instead, focus on the next block, just the next 10 minutes. You don't have to write the whole paper, just work on it for 10 minutes. You don't have to complete the whole workout, just do 10 minutes. You don't have to finish building the app, just code for 10 minutes. This is the Marshmallow Experiment structure applied to adult life. The reward isn't that you get 2 marshmallows. The reward is that after 10 minutes, you can reassess. You can take a break. You can check your phone. You can do whatever you want. Often, you'll keep going because starting was the hard part. But even if you don't, you've won the 10-minute game. And in a month, winning 30 of these 10-minute games adds up to 5 hours of focused work. In a year, that's real progress. That's how American success stories are actually built, not in dramatic overnight transformations, but in accumulated 10-minute blocks where someone turned their chair around and sang a little song to themselves instead of giving in. American culture is obsessed with big wins, the home run, the viral success, the startup that goes from garage to IPO, the weight loss transformation, the overnight success story that actually took 10 years of work we didn't see. This cultural focus makes every goal feel like a marshmallow you're staring at directly. It's right there, in your face, impossibly desirable and impossibly far away. This is the setup for failure. The kids who succeeded made the marshmallow less present. Not less important, less present. They changed their relationship to it in time and space. You need to do the same with your big goals. Yes, have the big vision. Know where you're heading, but make it less present in your daily experience. Don't put the vision board on your desk where you stare at it, making yourself feel inadequate every day. Don't check your progress obsessively. Don't compare where you are to where you want to be 17 times a day. Instead, make the next action present. Make the system present. Make the 10-minute block present. This is counterintuitive in a culture that tells you to visualize your goals and stay hungry. But the research is clear. People who obsess over outcomes often perform worse than people who focus on process. People who weigh themselves multiple times a day often struggle with weight loss more than people who weigh themselves weekly. People who constantly check their follower counts or bank accounts or application statuses often burn out faster than people who focus on the daily work and check results periodically. The marshmallow test isn't telling you to ignore your goals. It's telling you to change their temporal presence in your mind. Future you gets the goal. Present you gets the next right action. Here's something Americans don't like to admit. You have less control over outcomes than you think, and more control over environment than you use. The Marshmallow Study's controversial follow-up findings showed that environment, family stability, economic security, educational resources predicted long-term outcomes better than childhood self-control. That's frustrating because it suggests success isn't purely about effort and character. But flip it around. If environment matters that much, then changing your environment is one of the highest leverage moves you can make. You might not control whether you grew up with resources. You might not control your starting point. But right now, today, you control your immediate environment. And small environmental changes create massive behavioral changes. The kids who turned their chairs didn't develop better willpower. They changed their environment. One physical movement turning around altered everything. What's the chair you need to turn? What's the marshmallow you need to hide? Is it logging out of social media accounts so you have to manually log in each time, adding friction? Is it using website blockers during work hours? Is it keeping your running shoes by the door? Is it working from libraries instead of home? Is it telling friends you're not available during certain hours? These seem like small things, They seem like life hacks rather than real solutions. But they're exactly what the science supports. Small environmental modifications that reduce the load on your willpower, preserve your attention budget, and make the right choice easier and the wrong choice harder. In a country where people love to talk about personal responsibility and individual achievement, this is the secret. The most successful individuals take the most responsibility for designing their environment. They don't rely on being stronger. They rely on being strategic. So here's your action plan. This isn't theoretical. This isn't something to think about. This is what you do starting tomorrow. Step 1. Identify your marshmallow. What's the thing you're trying to do that you keep avoiding? What's the goal you keep abandoning? What's the habit you want but can't maintain? Name it specifically. Step 2. Identify your temptation. What pulls you away? What do you do instead? Where does your attention go when it should be on the goal? Be honest. Usually it's your phone. Sometimes it's snacks, video games, TV, social media, or just aimless internet browsing. Step 3. Hide the marshmallow. Make the temptation less present. Don't make it a test of willpower. Make it a modification of environment. Phone goes in a drawer. Apps get deleted or blocked. Food doesn't get purchased. TV gets unplugged. Whatever it takes to make the temptation require effort to access. Step 4. Pre-plan your distraction. Before you need it, decide what you'll do when resistance hits. Maybe it's a specific playlist. Maybe it's a physical action standing up, doing 10 push-ups. Maybe it's a tiny warm-up that bypasses the resistance. Write it down. Have it ready. Step 5. Commit to 10-minute blocks only. Don't commit to finishing. Don't commit to doing great work. Commit to 10 focused minutes, then freedom. Set a timer. When it goes off, you're released from the commitment. Often you'll continue. Sometimes you won't. Either way, you won. You turned your chair around and lasted the 10 minutes. Step 6. Make the big goal less present. Take down the constant reminders of how far you have to go. Replace them with reminders of what the next action is. Your brain doesn't need motivation for distant future rewards. It needs clarity on immediate next steps. This is the Marshmallow Experiment's real lesson, stripped of the mythology, cleaned of the overselling, and made useful for an adult trying to build something in 21st century America. The original Marshmallow narrative was comforting. It told Americans that success comes from character, from what's inside you, from your ability to delay gratification. It made success seem fair and accessible. If you just have enough self-control, you'll make it. The revised understanding is less comforting, but more useful. Your starting point matters. Your environment shapes you. Systemic factors play a role. These aren't excuses, they're realities. But here's the empowering flip side. You don't need superhuman willpower to succeed. You need better strategies. You don't need to be tougher than everyone else. You need to be smarter about how you work with your brain instead of against it. The American dream isn't dead, but it might look different than we thought. It's not about white-knuckling your way to success. It's about turning your chair around. It's not about being able to resist anything. It's about being strategic about what you have to resist in the first place. The kids who succeeded in that Stanford room weren't better kids. They were kids who, in that moment, figured out a better strategy. Some of them probably had advantages. Maybe they'd learned these strategies at home. Maybe their environments taught them that waiting pays off. But the strategies themselves? Those are transferable. Those are learnable. Those are usable by anyone reading this right now, today. You're not in a Stanford lab being tested, but you are facing your own marshmallows every single day. The question isn't whether you're strong enough to resist them through pure willpower. The question is whether you're smart enough to change the game. Turn your chair around. Sing yourself a song. Make the next 10 minutes easier instead of trying to make the next 10 months heroic. That's not giving up on discipline. That's understanding how discipline actually works in the real world. For real people who have limited attention budgets and big dreams and a lot of distractions in the most distraction-rich culture in human history. The marshmallow is still there. You still want the reward, but you're not going to stare at it for 15 minutes anymore. You're going to be smarter than that. Because the real lesson from Stanford isn't about willpower at all. It's about strategy. And strategy, unlike willpower, is something you can learn, implement, and improve on starting right now. Your marshmallow is waiting, but you've already turned your chair around. You've got this. 10 minutes at a time.